Today we're going to be glazing some test tiles up. Everyone level 2 and up is required to make 10 test tiles and test them. So today I'm going to show you a couple things, give you a couple pointers on how to glaze. For this glaze demo, I'm just going to be using our regular cone 9 glazes because everyone knows pretty much where those are and they know how the glaze boards work by this point. In a future demo, I will talk about some of the advanced glazes that are less tested, so look forward to that. And I'll also talk about using some of the Potter's Choice cone 5, 6 glazes that are over here. And there are test tiles on this side, and if you walk around the other side, you can see more test tiles for the cone 5, 6 glazes, Potter's Choice. So, you've got your test tile, and a word of advice is to stick with a close group. So if you really are into tomato red, just try to bop around within tomato red. If you're really excited about aquatic blue, try some in the aquatic blue row. You know, don't jump from SPR1 tan down to woo yellow. Each time you change, you're setting yourself back a little bit. You're making things a little bit tough for yourself. So try to limit yourself a little bit and get really good at one glaze or 2 glazes instead of trying to get good at all 16 of our house glazes. That would be kind of crazy. So on your test tile, you've got hopefully some opportunities on all the sides to try out different glaze combos. And those glaze combos can be anything from putting a stain underneath to trying a different dipping or brushing technique. These are really a time for you to experiment. So on this one, I've mixed up a little bit of red iron oxide. This should be the consistency of like a really thin watercolor. It's kind of a wash that it lays on. It's not going to hurt anything if you lay it on too thick, but the glazes all react differently over that. Okay, so this combo we're going to do streaky green. It's going to be over matte black. I like to use the drill. I think it's a good method to stir up the glaze really well. If you're going to use the drill, one important thing to note is don't rest it on the bottom of the bucket while you pull the trigger. That will eat a hole in the bottom of the bucket, and plus it makes a bunch of plastic shavings in the glaze. So when you mix it, hold it up off the bottom a little bit. Okay, that makes sure that I have a consistent mix. If I walked away for 5 minutes, I'd come back and I'd remix it because the glaze can settle that fast. So don't underestimate the settling qualities of clay. Okay, so I've got the top end with the hole up, and I'm going to hold it by the bottom. This is so that we can avoid dry footing each piece. And I'm going to go ahead and hold it, and make sure you count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and then come back up. I'll let that drip off there. And you can see that's a pretty good solid covering. Okay. So now you're going to set it off to the side. You're going to make sure that you know what glaze combo you're putting on there. And let that dry up a little bit. Okay. I would say a good amount of time to wait is about maybe 20 minutes. If you put it under the fan, you can go a little bit faster. Okay, so through the magic of video, we'll say that that was 20 minutes, and I'm ready to come in with my streaky green matte over the matte black. Okay, this time I'm only going to dip it halfway because I want to see the difference, what happens to the matte black as it reacts with the streaky green. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space here. Okay, so let's not forget to mix it up. We're going to dip it in mostly water. when you look at these buckets, you want to see a little bit of water on top, maybe an inch or so of water. I think that's a good consistency for most of these glazes. If you don't see that, either somebody just used it, or if you see like 5 inches of water up on top of here, come and get me and we can scoop some of that off. If you mix it up and it's too thin, you're done for. Sorry. Okay, and it's just a bucket of water off to the side. Get the glaze off there. Okay, I'm going to go for the same amount of time. We're going for consistency here, so 1 1000, 2 1000, and up. Okay, we can see that we're starting to build up a thickness of glaze that most of our design is covered, and we're going to allow that to dry. It's going to take longer to dry than it would if you did it because I dipped it too quickly after I did the base coat. So the clay wasn't thirsty anymore, so I'm not going to get good adhesion, I'm not going to get a good reliable glaze test. One thing that we really need to work on is getting the glaze combos onto the test tiles. So this is C over F, and so I've just got some red iron oxide. You could also use a glaze pencil or an underglaze pencil, but what I'm going to do is just C, and I'll just put a dot and an F. Alright, and that is red iron oxide. We know that's not coming off in the kiln. The glaze pencils, they're expensive, they're like 10 bucks a piece. If we can all get used to using the red iron oxide and a small brush, I think things will work out a lot better in the long run. But I really want you to see the thickness of that glaze and how heavy it is on there. Okay, if you scratch it away with a needle, it would be kind of a thick. You'd be scratching through a lot of glazed material to get down to the bottom. I see a lot of these, they're glazed too thin, so don't make that mistake. Okay, we want to double check and make sure that it stands on its own still, and that's exactly how I'm going to fire it. So for your next one, you could do a G over F or an H over F, and if you knock out a whole row of F, you could dip them all in F first, and then go back for the top coats in different colors with different underglazes. Experiment. All right, let's not pick boring combos for this. So those are test tiles and how I'd like to see them dipped and how much dry plate there should be on them and labeling. Good luck.